So, Mr. Ferguson from the Fire Marshal's office is here, and he's getting ready to do his juvenile fire safety program with my family. Hold this for me. Hold this for me. Hold this for me, Jason.
Michael.
What'll happen today is it probably is going to be about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on them. All right. The first thing I do the first half hour is generally getting information on the boys, you know, family, whole 9 yards. It gives me a better idea of them. It lets me know them, also their background, their history, all that other stuff, and I use that to assess what their future fire setting history is. Okay, so I can then assess them and say, okay, they have a low risk of setting fires again, or they have a moderate, or they have a high risk of setting fires. With that also, I can also then recommend things. At no point in time do you have to go with my recommendations. All I say is, hey, I think the boys could use some counseling if that is found somewhere along the line. Then you can go ahead and do that if that's what you wish to do. All I do is recommend you guys as parents have to follow through. All right? You guys are both biological parents, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mom, what's your name?
Tiffany. T-I-F-F.
Yes or no? Yes? 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 All right. Well, guess what? The playing with fire isn't cool. Michael, what are you doing?
Hey, Mike.
Michael.
Get up off the floor.
Come on, sit here.
Come on, hey, come, pay attention.
This is no joke, all right? You don't know how many kids that I've seen. You've already said that you've played with matches and lighters before, and you like to play with matches and lighters all the time. You know how many kids that I get to see all the time who have been in burn centers, who have been hurt, who have been killed in fires? Do you know how many? Stop pointing fingers and sit up. Come on, be respectful.
Yeah.
You have a grandmother and you have two parents here who I know for a fact probably have taught you right from wrong and have taught you manners. All right? Both of you right now are in, if you continue doing what you're doing, you're pointing fingers at him all the time. You're pointing fingers back at him. Both of you, that ain't doing you no good. That's plain and simple. Don't think that I haven't been there. I just told you. I've been the whole older brother, younger brother. I was the younger brother. My brother got me in trouble all the time. I got my brother in trouble. You know what? The two of you are brothers. Nothing is ever going to change that. And the two of you need to start respecting each other and standing up for each other. Because as much as he makes you mad, and as much as you make him mad, it doesn't matter. You guys are here together. You guys have to defend each other together. That's how it is. And you're going to learn that as older that you get, the more you'll realize that this world is a cruel, cruel place, and the only one who really cares about you is your family. And a few close friends that you're truly going to find out that you have. You get my point? Get my drift? Get it? All right. If you want to start that, you can.
Okay, start.
We're gonna talk about the consequences of playing with fire, Michael.
Michael, go over there. Your back is turned to the camera, so they don't even see your face. Go over there.
Michael.
This is for you, not for us. We know the consequences. Go over there so you can see. Your face is not at the camera. Your back is. So, I'm going to turn this off for a second.
You guys know what consequences are, right? You guys know what consequences are? Alright. Michael, tell me what a consequence is. What's a consequence? What do you think consequences are?
Punishments.
Punishments. Alright? If you do something wrong, okay, Mom and Dad tell you to clean your room, and you don't clean your room, what's the consequence? I'm sure there's something as a consequence. If you were told to clean your room and you don't clean your room, I'm sure there's something.
Okay, so we're not going to use your room as the question. When you do something that you're not supposed to do, what are the consequences?
You get punished.
You get punished. Okay. So you're not supposed to play with fire, right? Okay. So these are the consequences. These are the ones that you don't have any
Turn your face
control
around
over.
and get that man respect and listen to him.
All right. These are the ones that you guys don't have any control over. These are the ones that are going to happen, whether you like it or not. All right. This first one here is loss of trust. All right. You already lost it. You don't have very much. They don't have very much trust in you right now because you like to play with fire, right? Because you lie. Does that make you? Does that make somebody want to trust you?
Let me die.
No.
Come on.
All right. Same thing with you. If you were to play with fire a lot, do you think people are going to trust you? No. Just because you lose trust, does that mean that it's gone forever?
No.
No. How do you gain it back? How do you gain trust back? If by doing the wrong thing makes you lose trust, how do you gain your trust back? What's that? Doing the right thing. All right. Punishment and restriction. You guys have already had that at some point, okay? You've already been punished. You've already been put on restriction. Is that stuff fun? Do you like being punished? No? How about you?
You use the bathroom.
You don't like being punished? You like being
Go to
punished?
the bathroom.
I get to stay in.
You got 2 minutes at max. Don't
Okay.
go in there and play.
So you enjoy getting punished.
I
That's
get to
first.
stay inside.
So
Then
first,
they try to make me go outside.
why don't you want to go outside? What about outside that you don't like? It's the first time I've ever heard that.
He's a loner. He kind of he isolates himself.
He likes to play on the games.
Gotcha. Gotcha. You're a video gamer, huh? Is that what you want to do when you get older? Do you want to be one of those computer guys that make video games and test out video games?
He has a lot of creativity. He makes things out of nothing.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing. Yeah. Just find his little odd and ends around the house and turn it into a masterpiece. He's done it. Very, very, has a good imagination. Very smart. It's nice when people say good things about you, isn't it? It makes you feel good, doesn't it? Yeah, I know. You don't want people saying bad things about you. You want to hear people say good things about you. Right? Okay. Hurry up, Mike. He's waiting for you. You didn't miss anything.
You didn't miss anything. Wait through this. Alright, guys. So,
Really?
just don't worry about it. Plain and simple. You need to sit up. Sit up. Move up.
Look at the book.
Alright? I'm not playing around with you guys anymore. Alright? Enough is enough. I've got a job to do, and I'm here for a reason. Alright? I'm not here to play around. I'm not here just for the sake of it. I'm here because I want to make sure that the two of you are going to be fine when I leave. Alright? I don't want to see you guys in the paper. Get me? Alright. Arrested. That's another consequence of playing with fire. Do you think you can be arrested? Yeah, both of these can be arrested. 7 years old is the youngest you can be arrested. There was a kid not too long ago, probably about 10 years ago, down south that was arrested. Alright, right around the corner from where I live. He was arrested because he was a follower. Followed a 16-year-old kid who ignited a house on fire using gasoline.
Ooh.
He was 7 years old. He got charged, and he was in jail up until he was 18. He's got another 2 years left. So don't think that you guys can't be arrested. Don't think that a fire that you play with can't get you arrested. You can be arrested. You can have a criminal record. Criminal record doesn't mean anything to you right now, but later down the line when you're trying to go to college, when you're trying to get into better schools, when you want to go, if you ever want to go into the military, jobs, homes, they run your background, they look at your background, they want to see if you've ever been arrested and what you've been arrested for. So if you're playing with fire and you burnt something down and you get charged with arson or something like that, that's going to come up on your record. Felonies will never go away. Felonies will be on there forever. Alright? Restitution. What do you think restitution is? Come on, boys, speak up. What do you think it is? Just give me a thought. What do you think it is?
Jail.
Well, not really jail. It's being arrested. What do you think restitution would be? It's a big fancy word for something. What do you think? No? Nothing? Okay. Restitution is a big fancy word for having to pay back something for something you destroyed. So you burnt that fence down. One of you's burnt the fence down. All right.
Please stop kicking the couch.
Whoever burned, you know.
Mike,
I want to go back there.
Okay.
It's giving my nerves.
just sit down. Don't focus on him. He's the one that's talking. So
He's the one that's looking straight at me and talking.
He's the one that's talking,
Job to do.
and he's the one you need to be paying attention to. Block him out.
So if you burn something down, you're gonna have to pay for it back. You burn somebody's house down, you burn somebody's shed down, you burn something down that belongs to somebody else. Who's gonna pay for it? You? Do you have thousands of dollars? No? How about you? Do you have thousands of dollars?
Example,
No.
you broke something to Robert, right? He wants it repaid. So that's a form of restitution.
Absolutely.
So, since you don't have a job, you've been working yourself around the house in order to try to repay the debt, in order for mom to give you some cash in order to replace it. So that's a form of restitution, okay? Just to give you a quick example.
All right, community service. Community service is when you go out and you have to pick up trash, absolutely. Clean graffiti off of walls, things like that. All right, stuff in the community to give back. All right, that's what community service is. The last two things that kind of left. One is being burned, and one is dying. All right, most of the kids that continue to play with fire eventually get burned, and they eventually get killed. All right. So, and just because you may be the one that plays with fire all the time, doesn't mean you're not the one that's going to get burned. Doesn't mean that you're not the one that could get killed, or mom and dad, or grandmama, whoever. So that's what you two have to remember, that, you know, you as the older brother have to step up and be the leader. Understanding what the consequences are, whether they affect you or not, you're still the older brother. And you need to remember and understand what those consequences are. And know that you yourself, if you continue to play with this fire, you could be arrested, you could get burned, you could get killed, you could end up in a lot of trouble. I work with the guys who will arrest you, I work with those guys. Wilmington Fire Department, I work with those guys. So we will come, we will put you in handcuffs, we will put you in the back of a police car, you will go to a juvenile detention center. Alright, this stuff is no joke. You get charged with a felony, you can't vote, you can't practice certain professions. Alright? Anything with public trust. You can't be a cop, can't be a fireman, can't be a lawyer, can't be a teacher. Nothing that holds public trust. Alright? Can't own weapons, can't own guns, can't own knives, nothing. Okay? Felons are not allowed to own weapons other than a penknife. That's about the only thing they're allowed to have. Can't serve in the military. That may not mean enough to you now, but later down the line, it may mean something to you because that may be an option for you to go to school. That may be an option for you to go into the military, for them to pay for you to get a college degree, and you not have to pay a red cent. Get me? Don't close options on yourselves by committing felonies. Okay, same thing, attending some colleges. Alright? Background checks, they do them all the time. College applications, when you go for a job, when you go for a credit card, or if you apply for insurance, or if you're going to go rent a house, or any type of home, an apartment, whatever. They run your background. They want to make sure that you're a good person, that you're not going to burn their stuff down, that you're not, you know, a criminal. They want to make sure of that, so they check your background. Alright? We do have laws. State of Delaware does take playing with fire very, very seriously. They have arson laws. These laws pertain to what you're burning down, how you're burning it down, who may be inside, whether you knew they were in there. They're all very complex laws, but it's very easily to apply to one of you for playing with fire. Alright, if you purposely play with fire, you can be charged with arson. Plain and simple. Misdemeanors are just lower crimes. They're still a crime. You can still get in trouble.
Pay attention. Okay.
It's just a lower crime.
Excuse me, Mr. Ferguson. You and I had discussed that if you paid attention to him and you behaved yourself, that you were going to get rewarded by being able to play with my tablet, right? Okay, don't make me have to say anything else to you again. Alright? Be respectful. Thank you.
No problem. We have a couple different types of laws. We have reckless burning, which is if you do damage that's under $1,500. We have criminal mischief, which is damage over $1,500 of felonies. Under those numbers are misdemeanors. Again, they're lesser crimes. The biggest thing I want you guys to understand is conspiracy. That's why I asked you earlier if you're followers or if you're leaders. Alright? Followers tend to always get the conspiracy charges. Conspiracy is when you're with somebody that does a crime. You don't actually have to commit the crime. You just have to be there. That's why I always tell people to be picky and choosy on who your friends are. Choose them wisely. There was a guy from my firehouse who drove a friend to the bank. Just drove him, never went in, sat in his car. Guy went in, robbed the bank, came back out, got in his car and said, alright, we're good, we can go. My friend from the firehouse got charged with felony conspiracy. Did 5 years in a federal prison. All because he drove a getaway car.
How is he supposed to know?
Exactly. How was he supposed to know? He didn't know anything. He didn't know anything until the cops came knocking on his door and said, we have a warrant for your arrest for conspiracy and driving the getaway car on an armed bank robbery. He had no idea. That's why he only got 5 years, because the guy even said, he had no clue that I was doing it. I said I was going to the bank to cash a check. He had no clue. But because he was a getaway driver, he is just as guilty and got a conspiracy charge. That's why you have to be careful. That's why I'm saying to you as an older brother, even though he may be the one playing with fire, it's up to you sometimes to do the right thing and tell somebody and say, hey, he's outside playing with fire. You need to. I'm not going to fight with him over it. I'm just letting you guys know. You know, because if he was to burn something down and you were there and didn't say anything, didn't do anything, you could be charged with conspiracy. Same thing with you. If it was him, it doesn't matter. So you have to think about those things. It's the same chance I'm saying have each other's backs. It's the same point where you have to be careful and make sure that you tell somebody if somebody's not doing the right thing, that you let somebody know. I know it's tough because nobody wants to be a snitch and things like that. But you don't want to get involved in things that you don't belong involved in, and you don't want to be involved in things that are going to get you into trouble. Alright? Always do the right things. Alright? I have pictures here of what the juvenile detention centers we have, the juvenile jails. These are true and honest places, alright? Newcastle County Detention Centers, only 10 minutes away from here.
Sure is.
Alright? Grace and Snowden Cottage, alright? Grace is the female, Snowden Cottage is the male. Alright? Fire School for boys. Alright? These places are real. I've had to see kids in the Snowden Cottage. I've seen kids in Fire School. And about 3 months ago I went to the Newcastle County Detention Center.
I've been there.
Okay?
It really sucks.
William Stevenson House, that's down in Sussex County. Alright? These are the places you would go. I have kids who I have gone in there and spoken to about Firesetter, about playing with fire because they have ignited fire. Alright? I had a kid in Newcastle County Detention Center that actually injured somebody by lighting them on fire. Okay? This is no joke. Alright? Juvenile detention centers are just like regular jails. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right.
Alright? There are kids that will beat you up. There are kids that will hurt you, pick on you. Alright? I've been told that sexual things happen in there. Alright? I don't know because I've never had to be in one. But from some of the kids that I've spoken to later down the line, that stuff does happen, just like regular jails.
The girl side's easy, the boy side's hard.
Absolutely. Alright? You have visitation times. People just can't come and visit you whenever they want. There's certain visitation times.
Pop up there and come see me like once a week for like
Yep.
an hour. That was it.
And that's
Half
it.
hour.
Alright?
You want to know what's not fair? That y'all get easy.
These girls, boys are tough, man. They go in there, they fight.
Mm-hmm.
Girls don't do
cares?
that.
Who same consequence.
It is.
Well, it is the same consequence because it's not fun. It just adds another reason why you don't want to be in there.
The stuff that happens in there is not fair, but it happens.
It happens. It's like anything else. No, it's not fair, but it is what it is. Don't do anything to get yourself in that position. Don't do anything that puts you in jail.
That doesn't even include the part where you have to go in, bend, squat, and cough naked in front of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even. That's just getting in the door. It
Privacy
sucks.
is out the door.
There's none.
Okay, when you get
Shower in a
showers,
square box.
you get showers with a couple other people. Some of the rooms don't have bathrooms in it, so you either got to ask to go to the bathroom, or the ones that do have bathrooms in
At
it.
NCCDC, no bathrooms in the bedrooms. They're all in the.
So that means you have to ask to go to the bathroom. And just because you got to poop really bad doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna hurry up and get you over there. They'll get you when they're ready to get you. If they've got other stuff going on, they'll worry about that first. You pooping is the last thing they're worried about.
Yeah, but asthma attack, you gotta wait for a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Could be 2 hours, could be 20. Just the way it is.
This stuff is no joke. All right? Phone privileges are just that. They're privileges. They're earned, and they can easily be taken away. If you're good that day and you do as you're supposed to and you're on the right tier, and you ask to make a phone call, they'll let you make a phone call.
But you can't call cell phones. So
Nope.
you wouldn't be able to call any of us. Not a single one of us. Papa Rich. That'd be it. And he ain't accepting that call. Papa Rich. We all have cell phones. You can't call cell phones from jail.
Nope. They have to be other landlines.
At least if you just waiting.
Just chill.
All right?
Okay. Let me
Mail going in, mail coming in, mail going out. It gets read. All right. Again, there's no privacy. They know what you're doing at all times. They want to make sure that you guys are doing what you're supposed to do at all times. All right. This stuff is no joke. All right.
Anybody want some water? Cold water?
I'm good, thank you. So whatever it is that you've seen in TV about jail, about adult jails and things like that,
I want my
it's the same thing.
I want my root beer.
Please. Did you tell please? Again, these are just more pictures of what it's like to be in there, alright? It's a lonely place. Most of the people who are in jail don't want to be there, alright?
Remember my mom was in jail?
You?
Remember when you came to visit me?
No, I never visited.
Yes, you did.
No, I don't remember that.
You came with grandma to visit me once.
I don't remember that.
And how fun was that?
2 years ago, you had to come visit me.
I don't remember that.
No, didn't he come visit me with Robert?
I don't think so.
No, we kept visiting Eddie. I never visited you.
I could have swore you came to visit me and how bad I felt and crying when you guys had to leave and how lonely it felt.
Yes.
Remember when you
Yes.
came and you sat in the cafeteria setting, you, Mama, and Robert, and how you had to leave me there, and I couldn't touch you and hug you until it was the end of the session, and how you felt just being away from me, how you felt me being there. You know, not saying how I felt, but just how you felt alone from when Mama was locked up. And how I couldn't make phone calls every day and talk to the people that I cared about and see you guys on a regular basis, and you just gone.
I remember you used to come visit our house.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when Mama was locked up.
Yeah,
She's telling you what she felt when she was locked up and what it was like, the fact that she was lonely and that she missed seeing you guys. She just couldn't pick up the phone and call whenever she wanted. It didn't work like that. All right? You think you have rules and regulations here? It's far worse there. You do what they tell you to do when they tell you to do it, and they don't play around. There's none of this let's sit down and talk about it. You don't do what they tell you to do, you get thrown in by yourself into a dark room sometimes.
And you can schedule times that you can eat, and if you don't eat then, there's no other time that you can get snacks and
I know, you
stuff.
taught me everything.
Okay, well, I'm talking now, so can you please respect that I'm talking to you and listen when I answer me? So you get 3 meals a day, and you have to eat your meals when you're told to eat them. You have to, like in school, it's even worse than school. You have to raise your hand and ask permission. Can you go to the bathroom?
Yeah, and
You
then
can't get on the phone and call the people that you care about the most and who you want to talk to. There's no TV where you can just sit and watch TV, and there's definitely no video games.
I'm not going to survive.
Okay, well, you can survive if no, it's not. It's 100 times worse than school.
Yeah, you don't get to leave.
You don't get no recess time. You don't get to leave and go home. And
Our bedtime is bad.
you are there and you are there and you are. And sometimes when I first got there, before I got into the other program, I was on lockdown for 22 out of 24 hours a day in a cell that was smaller than where you are to here. It wasn't even this big, with a bunk bed, no TV, with a toilet that I had to use in front of another person that I shared that room with. Concrete walls, and that metal door slammed and locked, and I could not leave it unless it was me going to time for me to eat. And that's the only time I was able to leave myself. And I did that for almost 2 months in what they call it was for a violation of probation. And 22 hours out of 24 hours a day, I was stuck in the cell with somebody that I didn't even like, that I didn't get along with. And like I said, I had to pee and poop in front of that person. You know how embarrassing that is? Very embarrassing. And you don't want to do it. Had I known what I know today, that was my first and only time, I would have never put myself in a situation to have to experience that. And that's what he's here to try to make sure that you guys don't ever have to go through that.
Mm-hmm. So are you guys good with talking about the consequences? You guys understand what they are? Yeah, Michael, do you understand what the consequences are? You know that you can be arrested for it. You know that you can get into a lot of trouble for it. If you burn down somebody's stuff, you could have to pay them back for it. That you could have to get community service. Just because you're 10 doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to get that stuff.
You'll definitely get it because your parents can't pay it back. It's going to be your responsibility to pay back. So the only way you can do it is community service because you don't have a job.
Absolutely.
And you didn't finish school, and you don't have education to get a job. So the only choice you have is to be a slave to paying back something, thousands and thousands of dollars, hours and years of community service work to pay something back.
It doesn't even make sense.
Well, it makes perfect sense because unfortunately, when you do bad things, there are consequences for that. So you will go to jail. You will be arrested. The whole point is that you don't continue to make those bad choices. All right. You have the choice to not touch the lighter. You have the choice not to play with matches. When you choose to touch those things, you face each and every one of those consequences, whether it's punishment or restriction from home, being arrested by the police or the fire marshal's office, being placed on probation, having a criminal record, being burned, being killed. Those are all consequences that you face as soon as you touch it. Get my point? Matches and lighters, all right? You guys should already know not to play with that thing, with either, all right? You should know that those things are useful tools for adults, all right? Grandma smokes, Dad smokes, Dad smokes, right? All right? That's an adult thing. They use matches, they use lighters. All right? Stove. Use a stove, heats up. Heater. Gives you heat in the wintertime. Okay? Those are good uses for heat. Okay? Those are good uses for matches, lighters, fire itself. All right? You guys, being 10 and 11, should not be touching it. Should not be playing with it. All right? Whether it's one time or it's 10 times. It doesn't matter. Don't raise your eyebrows because you ain't no better, okay? There's no halo over your head, all right? Neither of you should be touching it, all right? Shouldn't be playing with it, shouldn't be touching it. If you see it, you shouldn't even pick it up. Leave it alone. Tell one of the adults, hey, there's a lighter on the floor. Is that a little childish? Probably, okay? But you've played with fire at least once. And you love to play with fire. So you shouldn't be touching that at all. You should be making sure that one of the adults knows that it's sitting there and then it needs to be locked up high. Plain and simple.
You know how you brought me the matches the other day? When you found them, that should be what you do every time you see them instead of making the other choice by deciding to
Play with them.
You should make sure that they're given to an adult. Get over here and sit down.
Remember we talked about doing the right thing and gaining back that trust? Yeah, bud.
You said something about a stove. Is that something we can't use it?
When mom and dad feel that you're ready to use it, and if they think you're ready now, then that's up to them. But when they feel that you're ready to use it, they will teach you how to use it.
She usually taught me how to make.
That's fine. That's fine. That's not a problem because they've taught you how to use that. All right. Eventually, at some point, you'll be taught the proper ways to use it. You should already be being in the process of being taught when to use it and when not to use it. You should already know by now. At least you're a little bit older than he is. When to use it and when not to use it. All right. Lighting a piece of paper on fire is not a time to use it. All right. If you're lighting the stove, lighting a heater, lighting a fire outside with adults around, that's okay. All right. I'm not sure what the laws here in the city are with having a bonfire out back, but I know where I come from. I deal with kids all the time who they live in, farm fields and, they live out in the sticks and, they can have bonfires whenever they want, which again is fine as long as there's adults there and it's done properly. You guys should not be playing with fire without an adult present or knowing about it and making sure that you're doing it the proper way and teaching you the proper ways of doing it. So if there's no adult there and you have no permission, you shouldn't be playing with it.
What I heard that man say is you shouldn't be playing the word playing with fire. At no time, in my opinion.
At any time.
Adult present or not, you don't play with fire at all. You use fire for what it's appropriate for: lighting your cigarettes, lighting the stove, lighting the furnace, lighting a fire on a fire pit, lighting a barbecue grill.
Right.
Yes, but
Firecrackers are illegal in the state of Delaware.
You should never play with fire.
All firecrackers.
Fire is not a
from
game
sparklers
that you play with.
to the M80s to all that other stuff. Any fireworks in the state of Delaware is illegal unless you are a licensed firework provider. So like when they do the fireworks at the riverfront or some of the towns down at the park, those guys are licensed to use those, and they are licensed through the state fire marshal's office.
Okay.
So
Just
you
because
can't do
I see you pointing at your dad. Just because you seen your dad lighting them,
I'm
doesn't mean that it was right. Everything that you see that other people do, whether you see them doing it or not, doesn't make it right. Now, if you see your dad lighting fireworks, he's taking the chance of getting caught and paying the consequences for his action.
correct.
So that's when he asks you, were you a leader or a follower? You follow behind something that you see somebody else do, and you make the choice and you know it's wrong, then you're going to find out that you're going to wind up suffering consequences. Just because you see other people doing it doesn't make it right.
Yep. And that's why just because you see them using them, they're adults. They can use them. They know when and how to use them right. Just because